This is by far the most exciting project I've ever been involved in my engineering life.
I'm Michael Brauer, and I'm here to talk a little bit about these Motorcity EQs. They're based on a couple of Motowns that I had that I found. I spent maybe 4 or 5 years looking for these Motowns. I got them from somebody from California, and I think that would have been probably mid-'80s, maybe late '80s.
This is the first time in history of recording that this unit is available to the public. Finding them now is impossible.
These essentially are my units, and I think anybody who gets this, they're going to be happy. It's a Motorcity EQ, and I did exactly what I would always do when I came, when they had one ready. I said, all right, give me a kick, and I would almost always bring down 320, sometimes 800, depends, and then bumped up to 50 and 30, and it just sounded exactly how I remembered them.
This guy, Mike McLean from Motown, who was a very smart guy, came with the idea of isolating the EQ and then adding a line amp at the output of the unit. So they could actually use the EQ as a standalone device. This thing sounds very simple for today's standards, but back then was not.
Now, what is this? Well, about 1.5 years ago, I went to Blackline Audio to get them serviced, and I started talking to my buddy John Neighbor, and he goes, wow, this is a great sounding unit. I was like, yeah, there's nothing like them. And he says, wouldn't it be great if we could just open it up and let everybody get some?
And I remember my buddy Peter Rodriguez from Spain always wanted to do one of these. I go, Peter, guess what I got here? And his eyes like popped out of his head. I go, all right, Heritage is building this.
I got this call from my friend John Haber telling me, you remember this EQ that we talked about, like several times over the past years? This Motown EQ that is like impossible to put your hands on. There were so many made and only for Motown. Yes, so I have 2 here. I say, what do you mean about you have 2 there? I had Michael Brauer coming with his Motown units for servicing at Black Lion. Say, no way. I'm in New York like tomorrow.
About 1.5 years ago, Michael Brauer brought his Motown EQ into us for service, and we got it under the hood, and we were talking to our good friends at Heritage Audio and told them what we were working on, and they were chomping at the bit to be able to make one of these, as that was kind of always a dream of theirs. So over the course of many weeks and a lot of time and effort, Heritage Audio has managed to make an incredible replica of the original EQ. We managed to pretty much reverse engineer it on a component by component basis.
Not only was there very little information on what this thing really is, but the very few bits and pieces of info that were online were either plainly wrong or very misleading. The conception of this product has been the positive part of the pandemic for us, no question about it. So we had Seth in New York being our hands in the unit and our eyes in the unit, and with the info he was providing us, we were basically making our calculations and our maths and drawing schematics on pencil and paper. We were working with computer simulations just to make sure we were going in the right path, and comparing those simulations with the graphics that Seth from Black Lion was able to send us about the behavior of the unit.
What Heritage Audio did, which is absolutely incredible, is they actually went out and started getting custom-made capacitors just for them that are exact matches to the values that were in the original Motown. A lot of the Motown capacitors just were custom made back then, so it was pretty incredible that even today, you know, custom capacitors had to get made for this.
So they just matched it part for part. And some of them I think they actually had to make. I mean, some of these parts were just not available. There's something about the warmth and the fullness and the punch that the Motowns give that are incredible.
This is by far the most exciting product that we've ever made.
This is a beautiful unit, and whoever gets it, you can enjoy it.